And thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Friday, May the 5th edition of our video devotionals. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope your Friday's going well. And we call this Faithful Friday, just a reminder that God is faithful to us, and let's be faithful to Him as we serve Him. And then, of course, it's the end of the work week, the school week. We have the weekend here and Sunday, so get things done that you'd like to get done, or rest, and so you can be all rested up for Sunday. And then, of course, another work week and school week coming up. So whatever it is, we hope you can do what you need to or what you want to do. All right. We're going to jump into things kind of quickly here today from the Today book. Since this is May the 5th, here's what it says. 1821, the date Napoleon died. 1847, the American Medical Association was organized in Philadelphia. And then it says in 1955, West Germany was made independent. And then also, this is called Cinco de Mayo. Today is May the 5th. All right, so we're going to be in 2 Kings chapter 11 today. We're going to read a few more verses than we normally do to kind of show you the story here and then give you something practical we believe can help you. Let's be in prayer for folks as we hear about situations and people, and there's always things around us and people that need our prayers. Okay, let's do that. And so we're going to go ahead and jump into it so we get you in and out here today. All right, so 2 Kings 11, it says, and when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain. And they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And Athaliah kind of sets herself up here. Terrible how she killed all those people like she did. It says, verse 4, in the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him and to the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of the Lord, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, this is the thing that ye should do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall be keepers of the watch of the king's house. And a third part shall be at the gate of Sur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So shall ye keep the watch of the house, that it be not broken down. And 2 parts of all of you that go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of the Lord about the king. And ye shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapons in his hand. And he that cometh within the ranges, let him be slain, and be ye with the king as he goeth out and as he cometh in. Verse 9, and the captains of the hundreds did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest commanded, and they took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath, with them that should go out on the Sabbath, and came to Jehoiada the priest. And to the captains over hundreds did the priests give King David spears and shields that were in the temple of the Lord. Verse 11, and the guards stood every man with his weapons in his hand round about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar and the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony. And they made him king, and anointed him. And they clapped their hands and said, God save the king. Now, I read all that to kind of give you the setting here. And what's unique here, here's a man, Jehoiada, the priest, and his family there, and they saved this one boy who they're going to have and make king. But you got to realize Jehoiada is not a warrior. Jehoiada is a priest, and he decides to go ahead and do the right thing, even though we would say, well, it wasn't his position to do that. He wasn't a judge, a soldier, or anything like that. In fact, he wasn't even part of the king's seed, so to speak, but he was a priest. And they saved this little boy and let him get old enough to become king. And he organizes all this army. It says, look, here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to protect this boy. He's going to become the king. And we want you to be you can tell by the language here. He says, I want you to be very careful to protect him. And then one day, the day came, and they made this boy king. So here's the practical side of all this. When I read that, here's what I take from it. Here's a man that says, you know what, it's not my job. And, I guess since it's not my job, I'm not going to do anything. But he says, you know what, here's this evil queen, Athaliah, and she's murdered these people, and she's ruling, and this is not right. And I don't know who else could step up or would step up, but he says, I'm going to step up, and I'm going to do the right thing here. And he says, it wasn't my job. I don't have the title. I'm a priest, and I've got my duties. But I know this, as a priest, I'm supposed to do right. And in this case, we're going to save this boy, and we're going to keep him hid in the house of the Lord, which is interesting that it goes to show you that, what people thought about the house of the Lord, that you could hide somebody in a place you would think would be easily, you could easily find somebody, or it'd be easily visited or, used. But at any rate, here's Jehoiada. And this boy becomes king, and he protects him. And these people align themselves with Jehoiada the priest and say, we're going to do this. And he became king. So I guess what I want to say is this: when you're doing the right thing, sometimes you got to look around and say, you know what? I don't have the title necessarily, but sometimes you got to step up and do things that others may not do. I don't know who else could have done this, but the times were bad. But I know Athaliah was wicked. I'm sure there was a lot of people who were very scared of her and says, you know what? I just don't want to. I'm afraid, or I don't want to get involved, or this is just the way it is. But sometimes some people look at things and say, you know what? It's not just the way it is. I'm going to trust God in this situation, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to step up, even though maybe somebody should have stepped up or just said no one is going to. I'm going to do it. And I know it takes wisdom, and it takes the Lord's, I think, leading for us to do things like that. But I think if you pray, you stay close to the Lord, and your heart is with God, sometimes God's going to lead you to do some things, and maybe lead some things that maybe others would not, because of fear, because they don't want to get involved. It's not my job mentality, whatever it is. But Jehoiada the priest, they made sure this boy was going to become king, and he did. And he went to a lot of effort to do it. And certainly I believe the Lord was with him and in that. So I hope that helps you today. And just pray and ask the Lord to use you in whatever capacity to be able to be whoever you need to be for the Lord. And if it means rising up when others won't, or whatever, then you be that one, okay? All right. So we're going to stop right there. Hope everybody has a great weekend at Sunday. Lord willing, we'll see you back on Monday. And you be safe, be healthy, and thank you for watching, and have a great day.